Everybody wants to talk about food plots, and I'm no different. I love food plots. When you've got them strategically located in your property that drive whitetail or wild game activity to where you want it, they give you instant gratification. You can plant it in the spring, plant it in the fall, you can hunt over it, and you can see some instant success. I mean that year, first year, as soon as you plant. So pretty cool. I love a food plot. I think it's part of a habitat management plan. It's certainly part of a hunting property management plan. And so they're included heavily on our property. About 10% of our property is food plots because we've got so much closed canopy timber around the farm. So what I thought I'd spend some time with you here today is talking about how you take that closed canopy forest and turn it into something that'll actually produce a real healthy food plot stand. And so we'll just talk through it. So step one in that process is getting the timber out, right? So you figure out where you want to hunt, where you want a kill plot or a food plot for the critters that you're hunting. And you come in and take the timber out. That's step one, pretty straightforward and simple. We already talked through timber management and timber harvest in a previous episode. If you didn't catch that, run back and take a look at that. Step two in that process is we're gonna take the stumps out, right? So we've got 30, 40 stumps in a 1/4 acre plot, a little kill plot like I've got behind me. You can usually find someone in your local area that will come in and grind your stumps, or there's rental places where you can rent a stump grinder for your skid steer if you've got equipment like that. And so you can do it pretty cost effectively, usually $5 or $10 a stump. On average, somewhere in that ballpark is what it'll cost you to grind the stumps out. Once I do that, I take the skid steer and I scrape that off, because the more of that grindings that you can get out of the plot, the better your harvest is gonna be that first year on those food plots. Those stump grinds are nasty on the soil, okay? And we're gonna talk later in the season about soil management and fertilization and really trying to get that soil base to do what you want it to do. But for now, let's just talk about getting those grindings out of the plot, because they're not gonna do you any good. Step three in the process is really just getting the rocks out. Here in where I'm at, I'm in the river valley and we've got rocks. And so on an acre plot, I've got a solid 8 hours of skid steer work, popping rocks with the forks on that thing, scraping them off the plot, popping them again, scraping them off the plot. I bring in high school kids to help pick rock. It's the biggest project out of all of this stuff on our farm. And so if you've got a similar property, just know, even if you think it's too big to take on, you can do it. You know, it may take a lot of work, but we got the rocks mostly out of our plot, enough so that we could at least take it to the next level. Then the last step in the process is I bring in a forestry mulcher. So these forestry mulchers are just an attachment that goes on the front of a skid steer, a high flow skid steer, not something that I've got access to. So I actually bring somebody in to do that, and it's really just refinement. They're taking out the tops of any remaining stumps that still exist, any root systems that are above the surface of the soil. They're taking any saplings and really just leveling things out. So once the forestry mulching is done, really you've got a nice level food plot that you can go ahead and plant. So all in, we bring the timber company in, cut the timber out. We grind all the stumps down, kick all the rocks out, forestry mulch. We've got ourselves a plot that we can actually get in and plant anywhere on the farm.